video is going to feel weird for a number of reasons. For one, I'm filming on a weekday. I didn't plan to. So all the construction noise in the background, you're just gonna have to deal. I'm filming in the bedroom, which I cleaned for this, which is not something that I normally do. I set up the camera myself, which I don't normally do. And I am unscripted, and this is not a review, which is what would normally come out on a day like this. I assume that I've titled this video something just so that you guys would know ahead of time what this is about, but basically, rather than leaving you guys hanging out to dry, I need to be honest and tell you guys why I need to take a prolonged break from YouTube. For those of you who have been with this channel for a while, you will know that this always does seem to happen, and I hate that it does, where I get super excited about something and then down the line it fizzles out and I disappear from my channel with no explanation. Well, it's fizzled out again, but I'm not gonna leave you guys without an explanation, especially because this is probably the biggest 180 I've had to pull on this channel. I just want to give you a little bit of context as to why the Women in Film reviews are stopping for now, right after season 3 began, and after 6 months of doing this. These reviews, as you will have known if you've watched my season 2 reflection video, are a lot of work for me. And it is mostly work that is done by myself. Tim helps set up the camera and whatnot, but these are basically all me. And when I started these back in August, I had the time/energy to put towards these. Things have changed, especially in the last couple of months. Our job situations have changed, which means that we've had to delegate some more tasks around the house to me, as well as me trying to reorganize some of my time. And that has led to, at the very least, the writing process for writing these reviews being kind of put on the back burner until the day before I'm supposed to film them, which is Sundays, when all that noise in the background isn't happening. And it really got to the point right before I needed to film the review for, I'll tell you guys now what it was supposed to be for Yes, God, Yes, which is a film that I really enjoyed and have a lot of thoughts on. And I just had a visceral reaction to the prospect of sitting down and writing it. And if you are a writer, you know that sitting down to write the thing that you need to write is the hardest thing. And I had written a good bunch of it. And so it started with, you know, push it back a week. You clearly don't have time to write a good review in, you know, the 24 hours before you need to film. And Tim was like, you know, you need to give yourself some time to finish it. Okay. So I put a statement out on Patreon. I put a statement out on my Twitter and on my Facebook page, being like, okay, the review's pushed back a week. And then I kept putting off the writing. And then I had a therapy session with my talking therapist who I've been seeing for the last 6 months through BetterHelp, not Spawn. And I told her about this reaction that I had and that I was pushing a review back a week and whatnot. And it got into whether or not doing these types of videos is bringing me to, it sounds weird to say, especially now that, you know, that Marie Kondo show has come out, but is it bringing me joy? And for a while last fall, it was. It was being able to talk about, you know, films that I liked, and it was bringing me some joy in just the everything that's going on right now with the pandemic and the election and whatnot, or that was at that time going on with the election. And now that things have changed and we are finally able to start planning for longer term things, I'm starting to take better care of myself. My hair for the longest time was just a mess, and I'm starting to take care of myself that way. And I'm exercising with Just Dance 3 times a week, and I'm, you know, doing other things that involve, you know, taking care of, you know, myself and my husband and us. And it just became very stressful to try to find the space to be able to write those reviews when my mind was kind of occupied with all those other things. And these reviews, it sucks to say because I really do like talking about movies, but the amount of pressure that I was putting myself to put these out and to make them well written and to make them well thought out was not bringing me joy anymore. I think it started the minute that I started telling people in my film program that I just completed this series, and I figured that this would be like my calling card to, you know, get hired for other things and to be able to talk about other things and whatnot. I didn't feel like I was doing it for myself anymore. Now, luckily, right now at this point, I'm not in a place where my life is going to be completely upended, my reputation is going to be upended by taking a break from the reviews. I started a Patreon and I, you know, pushed it to everybody that I could, you know, people in my real life. I encouraged them to support me, and the only patron I had was Tim, which, bless him, but he already supports me in so many other ways. So, yes, if you happen to have watched any of my videos in the last few days and you clicked the Patreon link, you will have probably noticed that my creator page is inactive right now. I do have all the raw files for the movie commentaries saved, and that was one bit that I did quite like doing with Tim, and perhaps I'll continue those, maybe not as a Patreon exclusive at some point. But right now I need a break. There's things in my life that I need to sort out, and none of them are necessarily bad, but as I have said in previous videos, as I have said in my reflection video, I and Tim, both of us, have responsibilities outside of our creative lives, whether that be work, whether that be household things, whether that be spending quality time together, any, you know, that for me right now needs to take precedence. The reason I'm telling you all of this is because I don't want to have people be assuming certain reasons about why I left, or I don't want, you know, people to think that I'm flaky and whatnot. I do have a lot of anxiety. I am coming up on a year since I last saw my family in person. And, oh man, this is the longest I've gone in my life. A continuous period without seeing my family. God, I didn't think I was gonna cry. But that is making me feel quite sad and depressed at the moment. You know, it sucks. I'm very close to them. I still work with them. But I haven't seen them in person and I miss them, and it's hard. And I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm not gonna do anything stupid or crazy. But with all this outside stuff, you know, it's hard to get stuff done. And I imagine that there's a lot of people who are feeling the same way about being able to see their families. But even pre-COVID, you know, I live in an entire country other than my family. I live across an ocean, and there are a lot of long periods where I don't see them. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop being active, you know, creatively. I'm not gonna stop creating things. If there's things I love talking about movies and discussing movies and whatnot. But there's also other things I like. Right now I'm doing my more or less annual music listen through of my entire iTunes library. I've added a few albums since then in alphabetical, listening to all the songs in alphabetical order. And one of the projects that I had talked about maybe, or at least hinted at doing, was a little, you know, my life in music series. Something about how I'll take, like, you know, an album or that I have and maybe talk about some of the memories that I have associated with that album along with my thoughts on the album itself. And that would have been kind of shorter and whatnot, and it would have been more off the cuff, and I wouldn't rule out doing it again. I'm reading a lot more now. For those of you who remember the reading rush that I did last year, I hadn't really read a lot since then. Right now, I am still staying on the women in film train, and I'm reading a lot more books, and I have a lot of books that I would like to read, and you know, our salaries have gone up, so I have a little bit more extra money to spend on books that I would like to read. I've pre-ordered Helen O'Hara's new book, which I think should be coming in the mail within the next couple weeks, so I'm really excited about that. I just finished up reading Michelle Dean's book, Sharp, which details a few of the popular female critics, so people like Pauline Kael, Nora Ephron, Susan Sontag, Hannah Arendt, Dorothy Parker, and it was a very fascinating read and I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to, you know, get Alicia Malone's The Female Gaze, which I haven't read yet. Maybe I'll reread Backwards and in Heels, which I have. But I kind of want to take this time to do more private creative work. I want to maybe write some pieces that don't necessarily need to be published the second I finish them to my own site. And I want to start kind of doing that stuff for me. But before I do that, and, you know, whatever, I need to take care of myself and take care of my husband too. And make sure that I'm doing okay and that I'm in a good space to, you know, to be creative and to enjoy it again. I'm not lying when I say that the support that I've gotten on the reviews that I've put out in the last 6 months has been nothing short of wonderful. I appreciate the comments that anyone has left on my videos, who shared them, who's, you know, talked with me about their thoughts on it, and on the movies that I review. I consider it a victory if I've convinced at least one person to, you know, rewatch some of the movies that I've talked about and think about it with a more critical lens. that's all I can ask. As I mentioned, but Patreon is inactive at the moment. I will still be active on my Twitter. I'm more of a lurker on Instagram these days, although I do post occasionally. But I will be taking this time to, I don't know, re-fall in love with watching great content. And there is great content that is out. I highly recommend It's a Sin, which we are halfway through, if you have not watched yet. It's really good TV, but it's also quite devastating. Of course, Drag Race US and UK are back, which I'm quite enjoying, and Cinderella with Brandy and Whitney Houston is coming to Disney Plus soon, and I cannot wait to watch that with my husband and just, you know, relive my childhood, because that movie is my childhood. If anything, right now, you know, comfort movies are good, whether they're directed by women or not. So, yeah, I hope you guys are all doing okay. I hope you understand why I need to take a break from creating things, or at least creating such big things on such a short basis, and hopefully I will see you guys all again. I don't know when. I don't want to put a timestamp on it, because that timestamp is going to come up and I'm going to be even more stressed about it. So I will see you all again when I am ready. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to keep living awesome lives. I'll try to follow my own advice. And I will see you soon. It's not goodbye, it's just a for now. So I love you guys all so much.